A man, a tree trunk, and 1,500 kilometers of dangerous sea ahead. It sounds like a movie story, but it is real. And the most amazing thing is that this man deliberately put himself in a situation where he has to survive like a shipwreck survivor 100 years ago. But did he succeed in the end, or did the sea lose him? Watch the video at the end to know the full story. Those who have not yet subscribed to the channel, subscribe now. Let's get started. This man's name is Michael Atkinson, an adventurer, filmmaker, and a former military pilot. He spent a big part of his life in the Australian Defence Force, where he not only flew a plane, but also learned survival techniques. And he taught the same skills to others who work every day at the risk of their lives. But there comes a time when just learning or teaching is not enough. Then people want to test their limits for themselves. Michael did exactly that. He decided to build a small boat from the thick trunk of a huge tree. Not only that, he will travel 1,500 kilometers alone along the Great Barrier Reef of Australia with that boat. As crazy as it sounds, it is actually much more difficult because it is not a modern boat. It is a dugout boat, which is made from just a tree trunk. This method has been used in various cultures around the world for thousands of years. Back then, there were no machines. There were no modern tools. Just handwork and infinite patience. Although the process of building this boat may seem simple, it is actually a very precise task. The wood inside a tree is gradually removed, but the outer part is left intact, because that outer shell becomes the main body of the boat, which will float on the water. And this is where the biggest risk lies. Because if you cut a little more, the wood will become weak. And if you cut less, the boat will become heavy. It will not float properly. That means every blow, every piece of wood, every decision. Life is as important as death. The greatest strength of this dugout boat is its simplicity. There are no separate parts, no joints. It is made from a single piece of wood. And that is why it is incredibly strong, durable, and long-lasting. Throughout history, such boats have been used for transportation, fishing, and even warfare. But one thing that was always different was the design. Because people in each region built boats according to their environment. Somewhere there was a rough sea, somewhere a fast-flowing river, and somewhere a calm canal. So the size, weight, and structure of the boat changed according to that environment. The wood that Michael chose was no ordinary wood. It was a Norfolk pine trunk weighing about 4 tons. This tree is found on Norfolk Island in the South Pacific, and its biggest feature is that it is straight, long, and relatively light inside. This wood has a special quality. It floats very well in water. That means it is less likely to sink. And that is why it is ideal for making boats. But just cutting and hollowing out the wood is not enough. It also has to be durable. That is why ancient craftsmen used various tools such as axes, chisels, and even fire. Yes, fire. The inside was burned and then rubbed and gradually hollowed out. As complicated as it sounds, it is actually a more perfect technique because the fire softens the wood. As a result, the inside can be easily removed. But if you make a small mistake, the whole wood is ruined. Yet this is how the largest and longest-lasting boats in the world have been built. Because they are made from a single piece of wood. There are no joints, no weak points, and that is why they are less damaged in water. They do not break easily and last for years. Because it is not enough to just have hard wood. It also has to be completely waterproof. And this is where the extraordinary intelligence of the original people comes in. They collected various types of resins, gums, and pitch from trees. These natural materials were adhesive and waterproof. They were used to seal the small cracks and joints in the boat. This sealant was applied to the areas where the interior was hollowed out. The result was a perfectly waterproof surface where water had no chance of getting in. This method not only prevented water, but also protected the wood from rotting. As a result, the boat would last for many years. But Michael's project is not just a story about building a boat. There is a history behind it, a story of a real person, a shipwreck survivor, James Morrill. After his ship sank, he floated on a raft outside the Great Barrier Reef for 42 days. Then he was rescued. Michael wanted to put himself in this same situation. This challenge forced him to start this whole project. For 14 months, he used the same tools that Morrill used. That means he was not just building a boat, he was building an experience. His boat was a double outrigger design, which is a mix of traditional design and modern Western techniques. The paddle that came with it used the power of the wind to propel the boat forward. But boats are not just a means of transportation, they are a culture. These boats are associated with wedding ceremonies, initiations, funerals, and offerings to ancestors. They are often adorned with special symbols. History is engraved on them, which is passed down from generation to generation. This boat is not just a boat. It is a connection between the past and the present. This knowledge, this technology, these stories are all taught by the elders to the younger ones, so that this tradition is not lost. And even today, efforts are being made to keep these ancient techniques alive. Because these stories are just thrilling. They are living documents of history. These are stories of people who have crossed oceans, who have journeyed into the unknown, who have made the impossible possible. And Michael wants to be a part of that story. A journey that starts from a tree trunk, a dream that slowly becomes reality.